Hello, welcome. Cindy Bettino, Transformational Healing. I'm a life coach, energy worker, happiness expert, but also the host for Sterling Women. So this video blog, this Cup of Happiness video blog, that is for business owners. And we're coming to the end of 2020. Thank God, right? And we need to start making goals if you haven't already for 2021. I don't know about you, but I made tons of amazing, wonderful goals for 2020 last year. And I know they all went kaput. So there's this small part of me, right, that says like, well, why make any goals for 2021? We don't know what's going to happen. It might turn out to be the same shit show that 2020 was. And that, that's possibly true. We're not going to be getting rid of COVID anytime really soon. I mean, I don't see us getting rid of COVID in Q1 of 2021. But that doesn't mean that we can't take everything that we've learned from 2020 and everything that we've had to do in 2020 and do it better in 2021 until we don't have that obstacle of COVID. And we can take the best of everything that we learned in 2020 to bring it forward in 2021 so that by the time we don't have that obstacle of COVID any longer, we can actually be even more abundant and more successful than we were in 2019. So come with me on this journey back through 2020, and let's talk about what you did in 2020 and ways maybe that you can improve what you did in 2021. So what does that mean? Okay, so I have been doing tons of one-to-ones, right? And I've spoken to women across the continuum and across the gamut. Wrong hands. There we go. And everything from my business did great and is doing even better due to COVID than it was before, to the opposite, where I have a spouse in the house, I have kids virtual learning, I'm distracted, I'm trying to keep my kids on top of it, I'm even having to homeschool, and my business is really struggling because of it. So I've seen the whole gambit. So let's look at kids virtual learning. So if you are a business owner that is working from home, and that's where you have been working and doing your work prior to COVID. And now you have kids virtual learning in your home. They're not going off to school. So how can you help your children do virtual learning in a better way? Like maybe your kids are thriving in doing virtual learning. I know some that are, and some aren't. So I would just say to you, if your kids were struggling with virtual learning, maybe you need to find a different place for them to virtual learn. Maybe you need to take them to a co-working space. Maybe you need to find them some other kids their age to be in a pod at a different location so they don't feel like they're getting claustrophobic in their rooms and falling asleep watching the computer, and then you run in, check on them, they're not doing well, you're right? So maybe you need to find a different location for them, and maybe you need to find a pod for them to work with. And then you and other business moms can come together to take turns watching over the pod. I know of people that are doing that and doing it very successfully. Maybe you need to give your children more of your attention, but in a more organized fashion. So the kids can check in with you. Maybe you have a stop and go sign on the door to your office, and that can actually even work for your spouse in the house, so that you are checking in with your kids and your kids can check in with you at certain times during the day. Kind of how we manage our time with social media, checking our emails, right? We don't do it all the time. We don't keep it constantly open. We check. We have certain times during the day that we will check our social media, do our social media, and check our emails. I mean, I'm just throwing stuff out there. I am lucky, I guess, enough that my kids are gone and grown Because let me tell you, I would not be doing well to homeschool or to virtually, to be kind of over my children while they were virtually learning, probably would not have gone very well. So I feel very grateful. And I congratulate all of you that are doing that. And I pat you all on the back and just say you guys are absolutely amazing. Keep it up. Don't give up. I know you can get frustrated and distracted, but think about what's happened since September and how you can do it better and how they can do it better in 2021. Let's take the spouse in the house. I have a friend and a colleague, and she's hilarious. And she's like, I want my house back. She has a big, beautiful house, but it's all open. And so her spouse is working in the house. She's working in the house. He can hear her. She can hear him. It's a constant distraction. She doesn't feel like she has any privacy, and neither does he. So if that's happening to you and your spouse or your partner or whatever, then maybe you guys can shift locations of your offices. Again, maybe you can go into a co-working space safely and do some of your work outside of the house. So check again what's working, what's not working with your spouse in the house until COVID is done when you're continuing to work virtually, right? Maybe I know of people that have actually said, you know what, if I'm going to have to do this, we're going to do this in a place that is fun, that when we're not working, we're going to be able to enjoy ourselves. So I know people that are now working virtually from Florida, from Colorado, from the Outer Banks. So, and with facilities that, our housing, that actually works for them, and having the spouse in the house and having the privacy, being able to close the door, not having the distraction. What else? Oh, dear God. What else? So maybe you have found during 2020, during COVID and schools being closed, that you're not really good with self-care. I think I'm speaking to a lot of you here. So how can you better your self-care in 2021? How can you better take care of you? Do you have the COVID-19, an extra 20 pounds on your body? Do you have the Zoom butt, as I call it, that is twice as big as it was in 2019? Well, what are you going to do about it? COVID's not going away anytime soon. You can keep gaining weight. You can keep eating those comfort foods. You can keep eating those stress foods, or you can shift. So for 2021, your goals might be more around juicing, eating clean, not having snacks and bad foods in your house to snack on when you get stressed or frustrated or distracted or disappointed or are feeling blue, right? So how do you want to shift your self-care? Maybe you need more salt baths, right? Maybe you need to get out in nature. Maybe you need, whatever you need. Like maybe you need more music. Maybe part of your self-care was playing an instrument or singing or dancing, and finding a way to add that into your life, back into your life in 2021. We can't count on the government bailing us out. So how are we showing up in our business? How do you want to show up in your business? Are you zoomed out? Are you one-to-one out? Like, what's going on with you and your business? Have you stopped working your business? Are you just ready for it all to be over and done? Well, I'm with you. I'm so with you there. And I am zoomed out. And that's why I keep with Sterling Women, I keep trying to change how we show up virtually so we can have more, it can be more interesting, right? So it's not just the same old, same old. But so let's say you're not getting the same benefit out of the Loudon Chamber breakfast or other group networking events that you used to do. So what can you do instead? How about more one-to-ones? How about you make a goal for yourself in the first quarter of 2021 to do 3 to 5 plus one-to-ones a week. What would that be like? So maybe if the group thing isn't working for you, then you do more one-to-ones. If you're sick of one-to-ones, then try jumping into more of the group events, group networking events, and get to know new people, see new people than you would have even prior to COVID, because you're not having to drive anywhere. And it's a lot cheaper, which is really good. How can you better work your business in 2021? What do you need to do it better? Because you deserve to do it better. So look at what worked in 2020. Look at everything that you learned in 2020. Look at everything that didn't work in 2020 and see how you can shift it for 2021 so that we can not just get through this, but we can thrive through this. So that once COVID is no longer, because there will be a time when COVID is no longer, that we can be even more abundant, more successful, have even more tools, skills. We can pat ourselves on the back for jobs well done in 2021. Thank you for joining me for my cup of happiness. Have a great week.